to go through that? Like when you were ODing, did you know you were ODing, or you just kind of like you said
It
you kind of
was
saw your life flash before your eyes? So did you see like a movie reel and then?
Yeah, it's the scariest thing ever. I remember waking up, because obviously I have the date, February 17, 2011. I remember waking up that morning and I just felt really weak. The night before I had drank like crazy and popped some pills, and this is now 2 weeks drinking and pill popping with no food. So it's like now 2 weeks of absolutely no food. And to be honest, I kind of wanted to be on the way out. It's something that a lot.
Best podcast in Long Beach, California. This is Tacos and Workouts. What it is. Podcast. What it is with the best podcast in Long Beach, California. Tacos and Workouts. I'm very excited. I have a very special guest with me today. Go ahead and tell them who you are.
Your boy IGMOB, also known as the Future, and on Google known as the world's #1 boxing designer.
That's a pretty long name.
Well, IGMOB is my company name, which means I got my own back. It's a company I started like back in 2011 after an overdose, so it's kind of like it's got a long story to it, basically.
Wow, that's a story within itself, man,
Yeah.
about that. But we might get into that a little bit later if you want to. If not,
No,
that's cool.
definitely.
But we met at an event, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking, and you told me that you're the best boxing clothing designer.
Yes.
Is that right?
It's something that's never even like you always see boxing outfits, right? And you never really know who does these. And I'm gonna be real, a lot of these outfits they're done by people who, you go to a seamstress and yeah, hey, can you make me an outfit? I got a fight coming up. But you've never really had like an image to a designer in boxing. So I was like, you know what? Since I want to go into fashion, my ultimate goal is to be like one of the big top dog like fashion designers like Louis Vuitton, Versace, Dolce Gabbana, and my last name is Zinzun, Zinzun, so it automatically sounds like a fashion designer name. So I was like, you know what? My first passion is boxing. So growing up, obviously, I used to watch Macho Camacho and Maromero Paez and the way they used to dress with their interesting fits. And I've always had a thing for fashion. So I was like, you know what? This is where I'm going to make noise. I'm going to jump into boxing. I'm going to make sure that I become like that designer that stands out. I'm going to do weird things, crazy things. I'm going to bring streetwear into boxing. And to be honest, now working with all the biggest names in the industry like Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, David Benavidez. And it's crazy because from working with them, then the YouTubers started calling me like Austin McBroom. Then you got Logan Paul, who just fought Dylan Donis. Then he started calling me. And to be honest, the list just continues of boxers in the professional scene and the boxers in the YouTube scene of like, you name the YouTubers and I'm most likely already working with them.
But not only are you doing it for boxing, but you're also doing like in the entertainment industry. I think you mentioned you're doing something for Fluffy and something for Michael Bay.
So even like the crazy thing is like they even got a hold of me with Fluffy because a good friend of mine, he introduced me to him, Juan, and they had this crazy idea of Gabe when Gabe sold out the Staples Center, him walking out in a boxing robe because obviously it's a Staples Center. You're used to like walking into the big stages with a robe on, you know what I mean? So that was cool, and that's how I got with Gabe, who's one of my compas. He's like a brother to me. Like now, like I've gotten a chance to not only design that outfit, but I also designed the outfit that he wore on stage, and now I designed some of his stuff for his tour, like when he goes on tour, like the shirts that he wears, and most recently the Wheel of Fortune. He was on Wheel of Fortune. The shirt he was wearing, that was also one of my designs.
Wow, that's crazy, man. How did you get started? I mean, like in all this, like I know you said you had like an interest, but what piqued that interest? What caused that spark for you to say, this is how I'm gonna get started, and this is how I'm gonna do it.
Well, the crazy thing is that, like, when I'm not gonna lie, before this, I was kind of like a little bit of a bad boy. You know what I mean? Not really a direction in life, just kind of living life according to everyone else's terms. You know how sometimes people tell us we'll never accomplish anything or we'll never do anything with our lives. So it does something to our mindset where we start to believe it and not even like give it a try at anything. So to be honest, I walked in that path. Obviously, you got two paths in life, right? You got that good path where you're trying to become somebody, or you got that path where you're kind of just, let's see what happens, right? And I was on this path where obviously it led to a lot of danger and trouble, and obviously I was an addict. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, so I was a pill popper, and I used to drink a lot. And to be honest, when I overdosed, that was kind of like the scary moment where I realized, like, I have to do something with my life. Like, I have to be remembered for something, because one of the scariest things is seriously overdosing. And it's because you really get a chance to see like a movie of your life played, and you realize like, wow, like I've lived my life just kind of like dwelling on my past and kind of like not really wanting to attempt anything just because the world always wrote my story rather than me writing my own story. So after that, that's how the brand I got my own back got started. So after my overdose, I told myself, you know what, man, it's time for a new beginning. I'm gonna hit it hard. It's gonna be a hard journey. I'm not expecting it to be easy, but it's like my brand name is called IGMOB. I got my own back, which means if I fall down, I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna be my biggest cheerleader. I'm writing my story now. And to be honest, from there, my brand started off as a personal training brand. So I would seriously tell some of my tias, hey, can I train you guys in like in rich people neighborhoods so other people can see and you guys can, and I can start handing out my business cards. So this company started off as a personal training company. And from there, one day I wrote I got my own back on my sweater, and people started coming up to me like, hey, that name's very empowering. I got my own back. Is that a clothing brand? I was like, as a matter of fact, it is. And it really wasn't, obviously. Like, I went on Google, I started Googling clothing brands. I started going to the swap meet in Anaheim and buying sweaters and putting I got my own back on sweaters and selling them for like literally 40 bucks. I wasn't making any money. I think I only profited like $1. I would go negative each time. But legit, like, it was always me just trying to level up, like trying to do so. And then yeah, I had like a little vision notebook where I, obviously while I'm trying to become sober, I'm drawing like weird designs because like my mind's going there because it's like fiending for like drugs and alcohol. But at the same time, I'm like, one day I'm gonna design for a movie, and I did. I designed for the movie Creed 2 with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan. I said one day I'm gonna design for the biggest names in the industry and boxing. I'm already like doing all this stuff. And yeah, everything I've ever said that I wanted to do, I've accomplished from. So that's why when I went to Michael Bay's house, because then now Michael Bay's, he's wanting a boxing outfit because he's going to a show. So then when he asked in the industry, hey, who's the best guy to design me a boxing outfit? He's like, JR, everybody that I asked in boxing that's a friend of mine, they all said the future. Apparently you're the future. I'm like, yeah. So I got invited to his house, which to me was, that was huge. I never in my life thought I would end up at Michael Bay's house. I mean, I ended up at, what's that guy's name from the Dodgers? He's the manager.
Oh, I don't know. I don't follow sports.
So I don't follow sports either, but he's the manager of the Dodgers. But me and Ryan Garcia went to go visit him at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's always there with the Dodgers, but he's really big. If I say his name, people will know who he is. But like, here we are at his house, right? So that was already a trip when I went there with Ryan Garcia. But now, like, being at Michael Bay's house, he's like, so how does it feel? And I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, it's crazy because when I first started this company, I was selling T-shirts out of the back of my truck at freaking swap meets, at malls, and I kept getting kicked out by security. Now I must be doing something right because I'm at your house, right? He goes, let me tell you one thing, man. You are doing something right because you are at my house and you grabbed my attention. So, yeah, after I got a chance to visit him, he kind of started. I'm like, you know what? Can you give me a little piece of advice? Anything. And he goes, JR, this world wasn't meant for the weak, man. It's pro speed. It's Bayham, right? So it's kind of like Mayhem, but his name is Bayham.
Michael Bay.
Michael
Yeah.
Bay. So Bayham. He's like, you know what? You're going to go ahead and help me launch Bayham. That's what it is right here. Bayham.
So let me jump in real quick. For all of you who do not know who Michael Bay is, he's the guy that did the Transformers movies. He's the guy that did the Bad Boy movies with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. He's the guy that did Ninja Turtles plus many other. Like if there's like a big Hollywood action movie with a lot of explosions and a lot of action, he's the guy that made that movie. And yeah, I kind of hear that he's a little intense, but that's what he brings to his movies, is that excitement factor, and he's actually worked with them. So that's awesome. Look, I want to take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
You said I got my own back.
Yeah.
And that statement could not be any more but true. I usually like look at life like, oh, we're going to do this together as a team. And you know what? I'm at a stage in my life when I realize that it's not always like that for the most part. And that slogan, I got my own back. The reality is that if you want to create something, you are the only person that's gonna help you get on that process and do that. So that's a very powerful name.
Yeah.
You said that you overdosed. Like how's that like? Like to go through that. Like like when you were ODing, did you know you were ODing, or you just kind of like you said
There
you kind of
was
saw your life flash before your eyes? So did you see like a movie reel and then
Yeah, it's the scariest thing ever. I remember waking up, because obviously I have the date, February 17, 2011. I remember waking up that morning and I just felt really weak. The night before I had drank like crazy and popped some pills, and this is now 2 weeks drinking and pill popping with no food. So it's like now 2 weeks of absolutely no food. And to be honest, I kind of wanted to be on the way out. It's something that a lot of us kind of go through where we have these thoughts of like, I don't want to be here. I want to exit out. I want the exit route, right? So it's like, I remember waking up that morning, February 17, 2011, and when I woke up that morning, everything just felt like it was the last day of my life. Like everything, like from when the moment I woke up, I was just already like in a daze, kind of like in a dream daze. And I remember leaving the house and I get in the car and I went to the Irvine Spectrum and I was like, I gotta get me a Jamba Juice. I need like something for my brain, right? Everything just feels off. So I remember going there to Jamba Juice and I'm stumbling. I'm like walking. It's like if I was still drunk, right? And I'm walking. I walk in. The lady's like, "Are you okay? You look really pale. Do you want me to call, an ambulance?" I'm like, "No, no." I'm like, "Just give me my effing drink. I just want my drink." So and she gives me an Orange Dream machine, and I remember when she gave it to me, she's like, "Sir, we really should call 911." I'm like, "Leave me alone." So I remember walking out, and as I'm walking out, here I am with my, you've drank Jamba Juice. How cold are those drinks?
yeah, they're cold.
So freaking, when I took my first sip, imagine drinking cardboard, like just cardboard, no coldness in the mouth, nothing. It just felt like just cardboard in your mouth. You know what I mean? I was like, what the heck? I was like, I can't taste it, and I couldn't even swallow. So I just like threw my Jamba Juice on the floor, and I grabbed my phone. I was super weak. I grabbed my phone, and then my hands like shaking, and I'm like, Abba, I call my dad. I'm like, I don't feel so good. And then he goes, I told you that it was gonna catch up to you. I told you. Well, that lifestyle of yours. And he hangs up on me. And I was like, oh man. So now I'm like walking to my car, and it's like as I'm walking, it's like imagine your eyes open, but everything just goes black, but your eyes are open. You're just like freaking out. You're like, why is everything like it's like they were shutting off the lights. And I was like freaking out, and I'm starting to get anxiety, panic attacks started happening. And I suffer from anxiety and panic attacks, so it just hit me to the extreme. So and as soon as I get in the car, I'm like driving, and as I'm driving, it's like I start losing control of my body. Like my leg just kind of just goes like that. It just falls dead asleep, and I'm like, what the hell? So then now like my arm, it starts to like fail on me. So it's like now my like body's shutting down, which is it's a trip to me. What's going on? So in that moment, I'm like, dude, I got to do a U-turn and try to park and try to call 911. So I did a U-turn and like I went up the curb a little bit, like where LA Fitness is at, or 24 Hour Fitness, and like as soon as I do a U-turn, like with the little bit of strength that I have left, I like put the car in park, and then I just grabbed the phone and I dialed 911, and I literally just like laid it right on my shoulder, and I was trying to hold it with my head, and then they were like, "Sir, 911 emergency." I was like, LA Fitness, Spectrum, like that's all I was able to say. And I looked at it and my phone dies. I was like, oh man. I was like, that's it, and then like in that moment, and now I'm there freaking out because like I have no mobility, like no control of my body. My body is just like this. So I'm looking at myself in the rearview mirror. As I'm looking at myself in the rearview mirror, it's the scariest feeling because I look at myself and I'm turning pale white. Like, and then right there, I heard, and you're like, damn, this is it. Like, this is like the moment that I wished for, but now that it's here, it's the scariest moment of my life. And in that moment, like everything just started going black again, black again, black again, to a point where it's like, did you ever watch Stranger Things?
I watched the first season.
So if you watch the first season, there's a scene where everything goes black and you're just like in a dark room. And that's literally where I was. I was in a dark room and I was like, where the heck am I? You know what I mean? And in that moment, it's like your life starts like flashing before your eyes, just like everything. Everyone I ever hurt, right? Because I'm not going to lie, like I did a lot of dumb things. I got involved with some pretty bad people in my life, and I did a lot of stupid things. I saw a lot of things, and it's like I grew up watching gangster movies, so I wanted to be a gangster myself. So I watched gangster movies. So it's like people think like, oh yeah, we idolize movies like Blood In, Blood Out, like I was gonna say like these like Scarface movies, but they don't realize when you're like a lost angel, you idolize stuff like that. And that's exactly what I did. Was I was idolizing things like that, and I wanted, because I've always felt disrespected my whole life, I always wanted that respect that these men have in these movies, which is why I chose the gangster lifestyle. So basically during that time, like I saw the people that I've hurt in my life, I saw my parents crying, my brothers crying, I saw the women that I've hurt, the friends that I've hurt, everybody. It's just like, imagine this big ball of pain just comes and just hits you right in the chest, and you finally feel what you've been numb for your whole life. You finally feel everything, right? I pictured, my dad, when I was little, he used to beat me a lot, which obviously made me a very aggressive individual. Because obviously old school Mexicanos, like we think like kicking the crap out of our kids is gonna discipline them, right? But they don't realize the mental trauma that it causes. So later on, it affects them, which is why I went in such a dark path. And now in this moment, it's like I'm on my knees begging for forgiveness, telling God, like, I'm sorry that I lived life this way because of the way I always felt like I didn't deserve anything because my parents came here illegally. So I was like, you know what? I don't deserve a good life. I don't deserve to ever be somebody because, my parents didn't come from that. My parents came here illegally. My dad used to pick oranges, from the trees in Orange County. So it's like I always felt like we never gonna progress from this. Like, this is what's it for us right here. And obviously I let the world dictate that. So in that moment, yeah, like I felt all the pain of everybody. In that moment, it's like I'm screaming, right? And it's like I'm telling God, like, please, like, if you could just let me see at least my family one more time, because they're the people that I hurt the most, right? And it's crazy because then it's like all that disappears. And then like I start hearing voices out loud, and it's like I'm trying to run towards them, like, where are these voices coming from? And the voices are getting louder and louder and louder to a point where you just hear a scream in the ear, like, he's awake. And then it's like, he's awake. And then when I went like that, those voices that I was hearing were the paramedics on top of me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
wow, that's crazy.
So those voices that I was hearing, and I still can't move, right? And like my eyes are just like looking everywhere. And in that moment, like I'm looking at him working on me, and he's on top of me screaming, and it's like, to me, it's still like a faraway voice, you know what I mean? Like that I hear. And in that moment, they're like, he's awake, and then like they're putting this liquid stuff in my mouth. I don't even know what the heck it is. And I just know that in that moment, I'm looking in the mirror and looking at these guys both working on me, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck have I done? You know what I mean? Like, what did I do to myself? Kind of like, well, why was I feeling sympathy for myself this whole life? Why did I let the world dictate, which direction my life goes in? So I kind of got disappointed in the fact that I felt like I lived a very why me life. Like, why me? Why doesn't anything ever go well? Why does this? Why that? It's kind of like I just lived in that life, which never really let me progress or never really try at anything, right? Because I was kicked out of high school. I went to continuation school. Like, I was the black sheep of the family, right? So it's like, after that, when all this is happening, I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself, and a tear came out, and that's like, I felt a tear come out. And I'm a guy who never used to cry. I was very numb. I used to ride on top of cars on top of the freeway trying to feel something, you know what I mean? Because I was very numb to life. So it's like, for me to have a tear come out and feel that tear like heavy, it meant a lot, because I was like, wow, I'm feeling now. And in that moment, I looked in the rearview mirror, and the most depressing thing ever, now I see my mom and my brother being held back by police. My mom screaming, that's my son. My brother screaming, that's my brother. Like, they're screaming, and I could hear them and I could see them. And in that moment, I thank God. I said, you know what? I'm sorry I didn't live life to the fullest. I'm sorry I didn't try. I'm sorry I blamed you for everything, and I didn't even want to attempt to even like lift a finger to do anything positive in my life. Instead, I just hurt people my whole life. So in that moment, I just thanked him. Even though I saw them screaming and crying, like in that moment, I was thankful because I got a chance to see my family before he decides to take me. So in that moment, when I saw them, it hurt. I cried, and everything went black.
Wow, that's crazy. So let's talk about like that situation that you were in. Look, first of all, what you've gone through, and that not in the aspect of overdosing, but like how that emotional feeling, how we're not meant for anything, like it's we're products of our environments.
Yes,
Look,
sir.
man, I grew up in East LA. I think you said you grew up in
Santa Ana, California.
okay, Santa Ana, California, right? But we grew up Latinos, Mexicanos, Hispanos, the raza, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? We are put into a pocket.
Yeah, we are.
Because what you felt like, it's how I felt like growing up. We have very similar stories, and I'm not just saying me and you.
Yeah.
I'm saying our community, because when we do grow up, um, we kind of do feel like it's forced on us to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like we're not deserving. Like, when we go to schools, right? When we go out in public, right? The way we're around different people from different communities, and the time era that we grew up,
Yeah.
right? We were always treated like second class citizens, right?
And we really were. I was bullied a lot because I was Hispanic.
You know what? Until recently, right? I would work at jobs where people would, talk down to me a certain way.
Yeah.
And, when you're from the streets, what do you say? Oh, man, I'm going to F you up, right?
It's so I used to threaten all my bosses. Like, that's how I was, because like I never liked being talked down to. And I even worked at a security job where I even told my manager, because he was talking down to me, just because he had a little badge, like, bro, I'll close this door and I'll slam your head through that damn wall.
I'm the same way, man. To this day, you know what? I've never let a boss talk down to me. and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, well, I don't know, I'm gonna make up a name. That's Carol.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Carol needs to learn how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's a manager. She's not gonna talk to me like this, right? It's about respeto.
It's about that at the end. That's why I've been fired from 15 jobs, because they want to talk down on us, because of a badge or whatever it is, they feel like they're entitled. They don't realize that if you talk to us more like human beings, there's a better understanding than just straight up trying to like devalue you. And that's why I've been fired from 15 jobs because of that, because not being appreciated, because it's who you know. Even in the industry we're in, it's who you know. A lot of people won't even help you out. You know what the sad thing is too? It's like, I'm Hispanic and I didn't get to where I am because of my own people. I got where I am because of white people, black people, Asians, Middle Eastern. I designed for a freaking restaurant in Dubai because of Middle Easterns. Michael Bay invited me to his house. The guy, you know what I'm saying? It's like, where are my people at in the industry? It's like Mexican. My dad asked me the other day, he goes, JR, what's it like being in the industry? I said, you know what it's like, Dad? It's like Mexican families, where they don't like seeing that next family doing better than you. Oh, your primo's doing good, so you hate on them rather than applaud them. Oh, your tío got a brand new job, but your dad has like a so-so job, but because your tío got a better one, now you're not happy for him because you supposedly think he's all bad. And I told my dad, that's exactly how it is in the industry. I'm like, why do you think we close doors on each other rather than bring more people in? Tyler Perry, what did he do? He started his own company. He said, you know what? Let's get his own people, right? He's like, you know what? Let's get 5 of our people. I'm going to get 5 of my people, and I'm going to put them in a position of power. Now, those 5 people are going to get 5 people each of their own, and we're going to put them in a position of power. But us, what do? No, man. What did one famous Mexican actor say to me? And I won't even say his name, but he said, I was like, hey, bro, why, you have the keys to these doors. Why not open it up to people like us? Because if you eat, I don't eat. I was like, damn, man, that's messed up. And I was like, have you ever heard the term, it's lonely at the top? He goes, yeah. I'm like, I said, it's lonely at the top because you didn't bring anybody with you. I said, a lot of you dudes are good at going up on stage and talking about raza, Latinos, getting the applause, standing up there. But when it comes down to it, you leave us on red. I said, that's why I want to be an example of like a man that's helped people get to where they want to be. There was a dude that recently in Vegas, he's like, bro, I want you on my podcast. He goes, I'm going to be real, bro. I only have like 100 followers. I said, it's all good, bro, because I'll at least get a chance to say I was there in the beginning when you started. I don't see the followers. I see the fact that you found interest in me, and I want to support you the way you're supporting me, because all promotion is good promotion. You know what I mean? And it's like, what do I do now? I speak at foster youth schools. I speak to at-risk youth. I spend most of my free time at kids schools trying to help these kids learn about becoming team players, about like, yo, let's come up together, let's help each other grow, right? A lot of these kids, a bunch of little cholitos, right? And you should see the smiles on their faces when they see me giving them hope. I'm like, I was like you. I go dressed like this when I go see them. You know what I mean? They're like, what the heck? This guy's a speaker? Look at the way he's dressed. He's dressed like a teenager. That's why I come out looking like this, because I want them to see like, yo, I'm just like you. My mentality is just like yours, except I also dream big, and the only way we're going to get there is together. And that's what I feel like is missing a lot in our industry, especially the Hispanic industry. yo, it's something that's missing like a lot, like, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, you know what somebody told me. It's funny. Your name is Jr. My name is Jr.
Yeah,
Someone told me, "Hey, Jr. It's like you kind of tend to like talk about the same things, and sometimes you say things, and some people are gonna get offended. Some people are gonna think that you're talking about them." And I'm like, look. Well, first of all, it's my show, so I could talk about whatever I want. But the reason why I talk about this certain stuff is because it's a continuous vicious cycle. And I think you're very right. There's a lot of people that say I represent the raza or I speak for the raza, but it's a big facade because when you actually like know who they are, it's like, dude, you're a phony baloney, carnal. You're doing things for your own best interest. But yeah, man, like opportunities not given equally, right? But how you said, the guy had the key and he could open all the doors. Yeah, that's exactly what people think, right?
yep,
I'm trying to build like a network of successful people,
yeah,
right? I'm producing my own comedy shows,
all right,
right? Where I have to pay people out of my own pocket, right? I have to figure out how to get people there, create my own thing, creating my own podcast,
yeah,
building other people and stuff like that. And people see a value in it, but I haven't made it just yet. So they're like, "Oh, let's not f with them right now because he's still in the beginning stages." But they see where it's going, and
yeah,
they're like, people will walk up to me and then like, "Let me take a picture with you."
yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, can you tag me on it?" And they're like, "No, I'm gonna wait until you're famous and then I'll post it."
Or they won't even tag you or mention you. Like,
No, can you believe that? It's like, oh, we know that eventually you're gonna be there, and when you're there, I'm taking the picture now that you're a nobody. So like in 5 years from now, when you blow up,
yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh, I knew that guy."
And that's what I'm saying. Like that's the kind of world we live in right now, and it's unfortunate. And to be honest, like that's why I hold so many keys to so many doors. And to be honest, I've brought in so many people with me because in reality, that's I don't feel like you're gonna take anything from anybody. Like if you really look at how big this world is, like there's so much opportunity, so much business out there for everybody to succeed. And unfortunately, we feel like because we've struggled to get to that level, it's we shouldn't get anybody else up there with us. And it's unfortunate because like I even have like I won't say who it is, but somebody really close to me just recently overdosed, right? And that person tried to start their own business, and they quit after a couple months because there was no support, right? And I feel like this is why a lot of people don't try at things. This is why a lot of people just don't even bother because they feel like there's no support. So there's like they give up on themselves instead of us like helping them out. And it's like that's why me personally, like I said, like I like to learn about people to see how I can help them, how I can connect them. And till this day, like you could ask people that know me and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that guy's a stand-up guy. Like he's the type of guy who will actually do what he says he's gonna do. He doesn't just go out there promote it and make himself look good so he gets a couple applause." I'm like, because it's to me, it's like I said, like I already died once, so the second time that I die, I want to die with a good, clear conscience, knowing that I did everything that I could to help as many people as I could.
Yeah, you know what? We all go through hard times in our lives and whatnot like that. But you know what I've noticed that sometimes people, and this is not Rasa related. This is just a consensus of like people in general. When people will see you struggling, right? They'll say something like, "Well, he didn't say anything."
Yeah,
But when a person does, "Hey, I need help. I need a GoFundMe. I need this. I need that," they don't do it, right?
yeah,
So I've had a couple of friends who have passed away, like because they committed suicide and
yeah,
whatnot, right? Which is very sad. I don't talk about it too much on the show, right? Out of respect for the families. But when one of my friends passed away, people said, "Well, he should have said something," and I'm like, maybe he was, but nobody was there to actually listen to them. So people want to like. It's easier for them to say, "Oh well, if he would have said something, I would have been there." But it's not.
you gotta pay
It's not like that.
the warning signs are always there. Like we always feel like there aren't any, but the warning signs are there. You could tell. I can tell by looking at a person's eyes, like or their demeanor, the way they're acting, whatever it is, like that there's something bothering them. You could tell the difference between a happy person and a person who's going through something. And to be honest, we are all going through something in reality, either with something in our past, something in our present, or something we're worried about in the future, but but the thing is, we come from an era, like I said, of machismo, where we're not supposed to talk about it and we're supposed to suck it up. in reality, that's when it eats us up more alive on the inside when we don't talk about it. That's why my dad one day, he gave me, I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't too happy about the fact that I was honest on TV, right? When he's, hey man, why are you talking about me when I used to beat you as a kid? Because now my dad's my best friend, obviously, and like, but I'm like, Dad, I do this so that if other dads see this, they realize like the damage it does, you know, to a kid. I'm like, because we grew up in an era where we're not supposed to express emotion. We're looked down upon if we express emotion, and I think that's a huge problem. And that's why, like, what was it when I was over there at the Chicano Hollywood, right? One of the actors. What was one of the actors that was up there? Not James Olmos, not Emilio, but the third one. Who was? It was
Luis Guzman.
Luis Guzman. He came up to me and he goes, "Bro," because like the way I was dressed, I had like this like full on. I designed my whole outfit. I looked like a damn astronaut. And he's like, "Yo, you're a Latino and you're designing stuff like this?" I said, "Yes, because I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be the new style of like Mexicanos. You know what I mean?" I said, because unfortunately, I'm like, we get categorized automatically because we're Hispanic. Oh, you're Hispanic, you want to be an actor, you're going to play a cholo. Or you're going to be a gang member. Or you're going to be like a gangster in a movie. It's like, why don't we ever get the Tony Stark role? You know, why don't we ever get the Captain America role? You know what I mean? Like, why are we always put as the security guards? You know what I'm saying? Because we're keeping ourselves there. You know what I mean? And even me, like when I got contacted through a company that wanted me to be an actor in a music video, I was like, hey, can I play the school teacher? Can I play like the athlete? They're like, oh no, we're gonna put you as the gangster. I'm like, why keep us in these roles? Because
that's how they see us.
That's how they see it. So when people see me wearing like neon orange, neon green, neon pink glasses, yeah, some people look at like old school people look at me like, what's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean? But I'm trying to change the look, as in like I'm trying to show that you can express yourself, because since we were a kid, we were taught not to express ourselves. So now I'm expressing myself through my fashion. You know what I mean? I'm changing the look, because when you think of Mexicanos, automatically you think murals, lowriders, gangsters, like you think of all that, and that's where they put us in, right? They don't think of like fashion designers. They don't think of like big time actors. When you think of Mexicans, do you really think big time actors? Do you really think fashion designers?
No, I mean, if any, there's very few, right?
Very, very few. Again, so that's why I'm like, I'm trying to change that. So that's why when people are like, how are you with all these Caucasian famous black people? Like, how are you at all these events? You know, we've never seen you at like the Chicano events, right? I said, because you guys don't invite me. You know what I mean? I'm like, you guys don't invite me. Like Chicano, like Johnny, my boy, he basically, you know, we met through social media, and he's like, whoa, he's like, you're making a lot of noise for a Chicano. How come you're not over here hanging out with the Chicano? You guys haven't invited me yet. So I'm getting invited. I'm getting invited to like Akon's red carpet. I'm getting invited to like what's it called? Like all these other like movie premieres. I said, but not by my people. You know what I mean? These are other people that are inviting me, and that's why I'm saying like if I'm getting myself to a position where I'm gonna bring my people with me, because yes, in Hollywood I want to see more people. I want to see directors like big time famous like Mexican directors. Like people don't even know this, but I forgot his name. But Ironhead Studios. He's a Mexican guy who's doing all the outfits for all the Marvel and DC movies, and nobody even knows that. You see what I'm saying? That's why I created this image of this guy called the Future, you know, because I grew up watching movies like Back to the Future, Tron, and obviously I'm a big fan of the 80s. Like I grew up listening to like Bon Jovi and their style, so that's why I also got involved in the fashion. So it's like I'm trying to be that guy. Like if you think of Mexican people, automatically they ask you, what do you listen to? Banda and, you know, all that stuff. You ask me, what do I listen to? I'm going to be honest. I listen to 80s rock. Like I love rock and roll. You know what I mean? I love heavy metal. And it's like, that's now why I'm being accepted. I don't just limit myself to just like, I'm just going to be here. No, I'm going to be everywhere. That's why I redesigned the chef jackets for, you know, a restaurant in Dubai. Nobody knows that, right? That's why I went ahead and, you know, the world's #1 boxing designer. And then I'm even like designing now for like, you know, like I said, red carpets. I'm designing women's dresses, men's outfits. Like I'm working with the comedy industry. You know what I mean? Like it's cool. Like, you know, working with Gabe, and then, you know, I'm working out in the movie industry now, helping Michael Bay. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like boxing industry took over that industry already. So it's like now I'm trying to move more into fashion, where even now big brands, I won't even mention who, but like you got huge brands out there. Like I said, Gucci, Versace, Louis Vuitton. Now their people are starting to follow my page to see the fashion that I'm creating. So I'm doing something right, that I've even gotten the name, because one of my boys, he models for one of these really big brands. I'm like, hey, who is this guy? He started following me. He goes, bro, you do know that's like the right hand man of one of the biggest fashion designers, and somehow it looks like you've caught his attention. He goes, because that's one of the directors that helps with the designing. So that goes to show you that, like, that's why people, like in the beginning when I started, my own people, when I set up a booth with my boxing designs, my own people came up to me and they said, hey, we do boxing outfits too, and your stuff's never gonna it's never gonna hit. You should just quit now.
Man, that's the way it is. Haters.
The exact words. The guy came up to me and he said, your stuff's too weird. It'll never do good. His exact words, your stuff's too weird. It'll never do good. But if you ever want to come work for me, the doors are open.
Oh, he wanted to. You need me, and I'm gonna put you down here.
So the crazy thing is, and like, I don't even like promote this in a good way, but years later he came up to me and he said, I want to congratulate you, because of you, I'm quitting. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're too damn good at this. You've created a character. I see you now at all these red carpets. You're not only working with like boxers, you're working with famous YouTubers, famous celebrities, like. And right now, I actually just got a call for the CEO of Airbnb. You know what I mean? The 263rd richest person in the world. He's already worth billions, and he's like, JR, you came really well, recommended from Michael Bay, Jeff Beecher. I'm the CEO of Airbnb. I'm like, yo, what the heck? He's like, and I want you to design me a Batman outfit, right? And I was like, now I'm getting like a whole nother, this is my first billionaire now, and that's what I'm working on right now. And that outfit gets shipped out tomorrow to San Francisco. But it's like, now I've got chosen to design a Batman outfit for this billionaire. You know what I mean? It's like my doors are opening in so many different directions. Like, it's crazy. And like I said, it's my attitude. It's the way that I am towards people. When you come to me, you get this attitude like, yo, what's up, man? What are we designing? Yo, that's wild. Like you get that attitude. And then it's like, I'm gonna be real, like, it's like a 15-minute conversation about the design, and then it's like a 2-hour conversation about life. And this is how I've been connecting with so many people.
So when you say you're a designer, for you guys who do not know, he not only does like the actual drawing and the image, the conceptualizing in his head, but you actually do like the sewing,
the cutting,
and
the sewing, the pattern making. So when I first started, I was doing more of that, where I was doing a lot of the cutting, the sewing. But now my company's gone to a point where we're such a high demand that I had to hire workers now. And the thing is, I've learned from like the greats like Elon Musk, you got Steve Jobs. I'm like, wait a minute, Walt Disney, who I look up to a lot. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, these guys, you don't see Walt Disney building rides. You don't see Elon Musk building cars. You don't see Steve Jobs building all these phones. I got to become smart like these gentlemen did if I want to get to their level. So what does it mean? I got to hire a team. So I hired 5 seamstresses. It's a family, which is cool, because now this family's living pretty good now because of all the business that I bring them, So it's like, now they are the ones that are cutting and sewing all my stuff, and me, I'm the face of the company. Everything that I put out, I design. I personally choose the fabrics. I personally put the design together. I sketch everything out, and everything that you ever see with either I got my own back or my last name Zinzun on it, I personally did everything. So, because I never want anybody to say that they designed my stuff. So yeah, now some of my stuff, I do like some sewing to it or some details, because if it's like a very, very high profile client that really needs specific details that only I can do, those are the ones that I mainly touch. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now in my life.
Cool. All right, we're going to take a short little break. We'll be right back.
Órale, como this is me, Little Hater. And guess what, Doug? This podcast is brought to you by Tapatio Nuts. You had me at hola. So go out and get some of these nuts. These Tapatio nuts.
What it is. Podcast. All right, and we're back. Hey, big shout out to our sponsors, man. You know what? Big shout out to Tapatio Nuts. Big shout out to Bow Down Clothing. And big shout out to Just a Fantastic for being sponsors to the show. All right, man. So let's talk about it a little bit more. So you're obviously doing a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
What's the next step in your career?
So the next thing for me is I really want to be into. I've always wanted to be an actor, right? And I have no idea how to get into. It's funny because everybody's like, "You want to be an actor, but you know Michael Bay. Why don't you just ask him?" I'm like, you know what? I still get that shy moment where I'm like, I don't really want to ask you. Well,
Well, you know what? Start off slow. Maybe he gives you the delivery guy. I don't know, right?
so that's why what I want to do is like I've been kind of working on my own like little small films that I've been doing, right? Where I'm the actor, I'm the director, I'm the producer, and I've been working on my own small little things right now. Damn, man, that sounds good right now. I've been working on my own small things that I'm gonna go ahead and first give it a try. Like I recently, so what I've been doing is a lot of people when they release a design, they put it on a mannequin or on a hanger. They go, hey, here's my new design, right? So what I'm doing is every time I design something new now, I'm doing full blown like movie production style videos, where it's like you could see now that my mind takes you more into my life. Of like, I'll show you one right now when we're done. It's called Apocalypse. If you go under I Got My Own Back on YouTube, I upload it. It's called the Apocalypse design, and I actually designed this outfit while I fell under depression. I don't want to say what it was about in December, but I was in depression because something happened in my life that caused me to design this outfit. And I also did this video to show you the emotion of an artist who still has to create while dealing with personal life issues at the same time, because no matter what, we all have our moments, you know what I mean? So it's like now my next thing is every time I release a design, it's a part of my life that I'm telling you about, right? And it's like this design, people see clothes, but they don't realize that there's a story to this outfit, right? There's a very it's funny because my mom likes to sew, right? And she makes these dresses for Barbies. My mom's a Barbie collector. I told Mom, your work is so nice. Why don't you sell it? She goes, because people don't understand that there's a story to each one. And that's very, I would not want somebody to just like throw it in a room or, kind of like, because there's a story behind it. And I was like, wow, she understands like the passion that I have for my clothing, which is why I started, when you say what's my next venture, I want to be a director. I want to be a producer. I want to write my own stories. I want to write movies. And also, I want to design the clothes for these movies. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of like the next thing that I'm really getting into. And yeah, to be honest, every time I finish a project, I send it to Michael Bay to see what he thinks.
That's awesome. You definitely have an advantage in in what you're doing, and you're already there, man. It's that you just need to develop your first like project, and hey, you're there.
It's going really well right now. Like I've put myself in a position where I've been flown out by 4 different investors who now believe in me to a point where they're like, you know what, we'd like to invest money in you. Like, and they're like, what's your next plan? I'm like, right now, currently, I want to open up a store in Las Vegas, like with just boxing designs that people can just walk in and just purchase them, right? Because yeah, even at my office here in Irvine, in Tustin, like fighters could just come in and just buy shorts off the shelf, right? And that's kind of what I want to do, is I want to have my own store and kind of make it run on its own, right? And at the same time, me kind of get more into like, my passion's always been movies. Like I love movies. Like me and my brothers, we'll literally be sitting there and we just quote a movie. Like I'll be sitting there like at a restaurant, I'll smash some chips and I'll blow them in their face and I'll be like, what movie is that from? They'll be like, that was from Nacho Libre. Like that's what we do all day. Like we literally, like we're such movie buffs. Like me, I used to escape reality through watching movies. So now I kind of want to be more involved in the film industry, because like I said, I love telling true stories. Like even Sony, one thing I didn't mention, like Sony contacted me and they're like, hey, we're releasing a brand new camera. We want like a good small little documentary on a real life story of a fighter. You know what I mean? And I actually got credited as producer with Sony on that project and wardrobe stylist. Yeah.
Wow, amazing stuff, man. That's awesome. So you do all this. You mentioned that you go and you do public speaking for kids. Is that your way of giving back to the community?
Yes, and I don't get paid for it. People even ask, hey, how much do you get paid to do stuff like that? I'm like, I don't charge because knowledge shouldn't be charged. I'm like, I'm out there teaching these kids what I wish I knew when I was their age. When people say like, if you could go back and tell yourself something, what would it be? I would go back and tell myself like everything's gonna be okay. You just really gotta try. Nothing's ever gonna come easy, and that's why I try to tell these kids, no matter what path you choose in life, it's not gonna be easy. But If you have a vision for something, like figure out how to do it, right? Like it's kind of like if you see this wall, how am I going to get across it, right? Figure out how to get across that wall. And that's literally how life is. Okay, I want to be whatever it is that I want to be in life. Like, look, I'm not saying, you know, like my path worked because like I was like, you know what, I want to be a big time fashion designer, but I can't afford to go to school. But did that stop me? No. And now I am becoming like a well-known fashion designer. But it's like I went ahead and thought, okay, how did all these other entrepreneurs do it? How does all these CEOs do it? There's a lot of CEOs. I'm not saying don't go to school. Yes, I encourage school. Some people are book smart, some people are street smart. Personally, I am not book smart. You can't put me in a classroom, I'll lose my mind. I'm more of a hands-on guy. I like to learn things hands-on. I like to be out there. I like to do things like I'm more of a hands-on learner, but I did it the way that what was the guy's name from Microsoft? You have
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. He had a vision. He put together guys that were smarter than him. What did Elon Musk say? I didn't go to Harvard, but my workers did. You see what I'm saying?
Phenomenal.
So it's like that's kind of how I'm doing it. Where Walt Disney too, right? Like he hired 33. He got 33, which is Club 33 at Disneyland. I went there. Thank you, Juan. So it's like 33 is like it's a private club in Disneyland with the 33 investors that invested into Walt Disney because they believed in the man's vision. So that's what it is. You got to have a vision. You got to have a plan, and watch how people are going to start believing in it. You know, it's like, and the people that believe in it, it's because you got passion for it. It's because it's something that you're like, you know what? That's why my motto is die trying. You know, I was back in the days, I died not trying at anything. So now I'm going to die trying at something. And honestly, you could pick up a computer and learn everything on a computer nowadays. Like I learned how to start a business on Google. You know what I mean? Googling everything. And then it's like, if I can't go to FITM, I can't go to fashion school. What am I going to do? I'm going to go work at Armani Exchange and Banana Republic. Now, here's the whole thing with being Latino again, right? It's like people don't go and they don't I've told a couple friends of mine that are Hispanic, you know, even when I went to an event with Todos Hispanos, there was a girl there. She's like, yeah, I want to be in fashion, but, you know, I'm like, then why don't you go work at the mall? She's like, oh, they'll never hire me at Armani. I'm like, I worked at Armani. I went there in shorts and a tank top. I'm all tatted up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I went in shorts and a tank top and I still got the job. And I'm like, and everybody in that room was dressed up all GQ. And I was the only Mexican and I'm the only one that got the job while I was there. And they're like, how did you get the job? I said, because when I walked in, they asked everybody, right? Number one, I was 20 minutes late, so I was already late. And I was like, look, check this out. This is what separated me from everybody else. I said, yeah, I was Hispanic. Yeah, I came in looking like a little gangster, right? But I said, everybody there, when they asked them why they wanted to work here, they said, because I love fashion and this looks like a place where I would want to work at. When they asked me, you in the back, well, why do you want to work here, right? Looking like a guy who has no idea what the hell he's doing there. I was like, you want to know why I want to work here? Because I want to be a part of a growing company. Armani Exchange just opened up its third location, one in Milan and actually one right here in Cerritos. I said, not only that, but I plan on starting my own brand, which I'm currently in the process of right now. I want to start off as an employee and move myself up even into corporate at Armani. Maybe I could even design some stuff for Giorgio Armani someday. I said, Giorgio Armani's got 5 branches. Giorgio Armani, Emporio Armani, Armani Jeans, right? And I'm naming all this stuff and they're like, where did this guy come from? How does he know everything about this company? I educated myself before I went in there to the point that at the end, they walked up to me and they said, everybody, please thank you for coming, blah, 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 right? I stood up and I gave a full-blown speech on why I wanted to work here. The guy comes up to me and he goes, bro, he goes, I'm going to be real. You blew our minds just automatically. I'm like, look, I apologize for the ways that I'm dressed. I'm like, I actually wasn't, we're in the process of moving right now. I didn't have any clothes and I'm not going to lie. I was so caught up with that I almost even missed this interview, but I didn't want to miss it. I at least wanted to show up, right, and give it a shot. And they're like, well, you know what? You're hired. So I got hired, being a Hispanic, right, Latino, like I said, coming in looking like that. But that's why I'm saying, like, we feel like we don't deserve to work there. Why? Because it's a European style brand. You walk in there, you see all these people dressed bien elegante. You feel like I cannot look like that. You know?
And again, it goes back to what we were talking earlier. you kind of like we're put in that pocket and we accept it, and that's where we think we gotta be, right?
And before you know it, man, JR, now that you're working here, you get 75% off. Every month you get 5 free items. So boom, right there, they dressed me from head to toe in Armani, and now I look like one of them. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I tell everybody, like, we're our biggest critics, we're our own worst enemies. Like, that's why my dad, because one of my little brother, he started working at like at the airport, packaging food in a refrigerator, and my dad's like, hijo, tienes papeles, you know what I'm saying? Like, go get a better job than that. What are you doing limiting yourself? And yeah, after that, he went and he started working for the bank. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes, a lot of us that are here, like, with these opportunities, we're the ones that feel like, oh, I can never work at a bank. I can never work at, at a corporate office or here, there. Why not? What's the difference? We're all human. What separates us? Just because of our skin tone, we feel like we can't work there. We can't be put in those positions of power. Look in the position that I'm putting myself in now. And it's because I know that I deserve to be there too. And that's why I kind of try to teach these kids, like, look, I come from backgrounds like you. Look at my pictures when I was a kid. I was wearing oversized shirts, all faded. I had a messed up haircut. We couldn't even afford it. I started working at the age of 6 years old, pushing carts in Santa Ana. Back in the days at Target, right? Back in the days at Target, when you used to put the cart away, I used to give you a quarter. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 38 years old.
Yeah, I remember those.
So
25
I
cents.
used to give you a quarter. That's how I started when I was a kid, like working. My mom used to sit in the curb with my little brother, me and my middle brother. We used to walk up, Senor, can we put your carts away? So we used to push the carts until we made enough money for all 4 of us to get dollar burgers at the gas station. So my parents, now I see it after my overdose, I'm like, yo, they sacrificed everything coming over here to give us a better life. So I'm not gonna go back to the streets. I'm not gonna go disappoint them anymore. Now I'm gonna work hard, because back in the days my dad used to never mention me really, and now I'm all he talks about. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool now that, my dad, you should see my dad when I take him to these VIP parties, man. He's like there with his phone recording everything. He's super excited, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna go show my, the workers that I work at, where I was at. And even them, when they look at it, they're like, hey, bro, that's pretty cool that your son got a chance to, now be around that kind of world, that kind of circle now, like that. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's been definitely, like I told my dad, I'm like, I saw what you went through working 2 jobs with us, stressed out dad. Obviously, you didn't know how to do it because, my dad did say, he's like, you know what, my dad didn't show me what love was. He goes, but you're starting to learn what love is, and I feel like now you're gonna pass that on, and you're gonna break this chain that I had, this chain of like how we're supposed to raise our kids, how we're supposed to be. He goes, now look at you, you're changing that, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. Is I'm trying to tell people like, yo, this is like, let's learn from that. If it didn't work that way, let's go ahead and now let's do it a different way now. And that's kind of that's what I'm saying. I'm the new style of Mexicanos now. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm gonna change the look, I'm gonna change the style, I'm gonna change the way we raise our kids. I'm gonna change because I want to see a different tomorrow for us, and I don't want to see us, like you said, be put in this little pocket. We should be out there too. You know what I'm saying? And that's my goal.
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's definitely hard to do everything. I've obviously done so much, man. I know you have another appointment that you need to reach out to. Look, man, we could be here talking for forever. The only thing I could say, man, is that we're happy to have you on our show, and if you ever want to come back,
definitely,
we could do something else.
You
man.
You have no idea how many round 2s I've done with people, because I'm like, yo, I got a lot to say, and it's like I said, everybody's always like, what do you leave us with? I say, well, I leave you guys with this. Like, it's about supporting each other, because in reality, it's a lonely world out there, and we make it lonely. And I tell everybody this: why are drugs on the rise? Because that's how many people are out there trying to numb pain, trying to sleep, trying to basically not face reality. But the more we stick to, it's crazy. Back in the days, I used to connect people to do bad things. Now I connect people to elevate, to move up. So I feel like the more of us that are out there, like, now I'm going to remember you, right? I remember you, like, I'll be like, I even know people that are interesting too that you could even have on the podcast, right? And then maybe, who knows, maybe you come across somebody that maybe might need a design or something. Hey, you know what? JR, man, you should connect with him. And this is what we need to do right here. Exactly what we're doing right now, because I always tell everybody we're all God's children. Personally, I don't see fame. I don't see levels. I see all of us on the same level. It's just we just got to learn to help each other out more. And unfortunately, our people need to learn that the most.
I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah, man. People leads to people, man. And as you're talking, I'm all like, hey, maybe one day he could design for Little Hater or something, right?
Yeah.
You know. So, but I'm not there yet. We're Little Hater. Good. As for your designs, but eventually, I'm already like thinking in my mind, like, hey, maybe in the future, you know, he could do something for Little Hater. But yeah, man. This was a great time, man. Thank you so much for coming on,
It
man.
was nice. Like I tell everybody, hey, if you ever want to calm your mental state of mind, I always fall asleep to the sounds of the ocean. It's like the way to just shut your brain off and just really deep breaths, and you go to sleep very nice.
Man, I'm so lucky to have the best studio, the best podcast in Long Beach, California, man.
Big shout out to Long Beach. After this, I'm gonna go see my boy Fluffy, and I gotta go to Bay Films, Michael Bay Studios. So got a lot of cool stuff coming today, and a lot of cool stuff coming this month.
You're gonna go see Fluffy? Oh, tell him I said hi.
I'm gonna tell him he says hi. I'll probably get him a signed Funko.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Let's go.